This tutorial covers schedule types, time blocks, and availability, because all three work together to create the basis for your scheduling environment. In fact, we recommend you watch the Recstaff overview video before you watch this tutorial because it demonstrates visually how these three components of the system are interconnected. Let's begin with a definition for each component. Schedule types are the areas or departments in your organization you schedule for. Time blocks are the times of day you schedule for. And availability is when staff are available to work these time blocks. We start with schedule types when we first set up your account. From the dashboard, go to System Setup, Schedules, and click on Schedule Types. Every time you create a schedule in Recstaff, you begin by selecting the schedule type. The schedule type tells the system what group of workers you're creating a schedule for. For example, in a pool setting, you could have a schedule type for your lifeguards and another schedule type for your programming staff. It depends on the staff you want on a schedule. If you'd like your lifeguards and your programmers on the same schedule, then you would create one schedule type for all. Here's a list of all the schedule types in my test system: Aqua, Reception Staff Schedule, Program Staff Schedule, Maintenance Staff Schedule, Arena Staff Schedule, and Manager Schedule. Let's look at the schedule type Aqua listed here. First, we have the name and the description, which says it's the main aquatic schedule for pool staff. Then you see the schedulers. This is a list of all the staff who can create and edit schedules. Next are the viewers. This is a list of all the staff who can look at the schedule. For instance, if your main scheduler is on vacation, you'll need people who can create and edit or just simply view the schedule while they're away. Neither schedulers or viewers have access to employee information, only managers. Then we have the roles, which are the pool staff's employee roles or jobs. Here you see deck supervisor, swim instructor, pool manager, senior lifeguard, and lifeguard. Following that, we have the facilities. If this group of staff worked in more than one facility, you would add the facilities here. For example, maybe I have two pools at different facilities, but the staff are shared between these two pools. Because I'm using the same staff, I can use the same schedule type and just tell the system which facility I'm scheduling for. The start time is the earliest time of the day you're going to begin creating shifts for this schedule type. The start time is associated with the time blocks that define your scheduling day. Let's create a schedule type for the fitness area. Go to the menu and click on Add Schedule Type. We'll call it Fitness. The description will be Schedule for all fitness staff. The roles that will be on the schedule are Fitness Consultant and Personal Trainer. And I'm going to add Manager because I'm logged in as the manager and I want to show you the availability that gets created from this schedule type. The start time will be 5 a.m. because that's the earliest we have staff working. And then we save it. Now you see it here on the schedule type listing page. As you can see, the schedulers, viewers, and facility columns are blank. That's because we add that information through the Actions column, so let's do that now. The first icon is the pencil, which allows you to edit the schedule type you just created. The 9 squares icon is for time blocks. This is where we create the time blocks for the shifts on this schedule type. We define time blocks as the times of day you schedule for. Let me explain that in a little more detail by using an example. Let's say that fitness has 6 shifts that occur every Monday. They begin at 5 a.m. and end at 11 p.m. Let me draw each of the shifts here. Time blocks have a dual purpose. The system uses them to generate what the calendar canvas will look like on the Visual Schedule Builder, which is where you create your shifts. So if you didn't have any time blocks for Sunday, that would mean you wouldn't be able to create any shifts from Sunday. In other words, if you want to create a shift, there has to be a time block that shift falls into. The system also uses them to create the availability form the staff will fill out. Now that I have all my shifts listed here, we need to decide what the time blocks for Monday will be. And that depends on how much flexibility you want your staff to have when filling out their availability form. For example, we could create one giant time block from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then, if staff wanted to work on Mondays, they'd have to say yes, they're available to work anytime between 5 a.m. and 11 p.m. that probably wouldn't work for most people because having to be available for that entire time frame would be difficult. Say I had a class during the day, I would have to say no, I couldn't work on Mondays, even though I could work most of Monday except for the time my class ran. So one time block doesn't allow staff much flexibility when defining when they can work. Instead of one time block, I'm going to make 4 time blocks because when I look at my shifts, there are 4 parts of the day that I need staff to work. I have a 5 a.m. to a 10 a.m. shift and an 8 a.m. to a 10 a.m. shift. I could make just one time block for this from 5 to 10, but I'm going to break it up because I know my staff and some of them want to come in early, but others don't. So I'm going to give them the option by creating an early time block from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and a morning time block from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then, whoever wants the early shift can let me know through their availability form that they can work that time block by checking yes. Next, I'm going to create an afternoon time block from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then an evening time block from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Now, when staff fill out the availability form that was generated from these time blocks, they have the option of choosing the parts of the day they can work that best suit their personal schedule. Here's 2 things you need to keep in mind when you're creating your time blocks. Number 1 is make sure the time blocks you're creating are big enough to encompass all the shifts it's for. And number 2 is you need to decide how much flexibility you want to give your staff for choosing when they can work. The more flexible you want to be, the more time blocks you'll have. Okay, so now let's add these 4 time blocks. Since we had already clicked on the 9 block icon under the action menu, we're on the time block screen. This is where you would see a list of all your time blocks if you had any, and where you create and delete them. So let's click on the Add Time Block menu item and give it the name Early, and choose the start time of 5 a.m. and the end time of 10 a.m. Now we click on the days of the week this time block is for, which will be from Monday through Friday. And after we've finished adding all the time block days, we save it. Then we just repeat this process for the morning time block, which we name morning. Start time will be 8 a.m. because we want to give staff the option to work the early or the morning shift. And the end time will be 10 a.m. And then we choose Monday through Friday for the days of the week it applies to. And finally, we save it. Now we add the afternoon time block. And it starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 2 p.m. And it's also for Monday through Friday. And we save it. And our final time block is called evening, and it's from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. And again, it's for Monday through Friday. And once we're done, we save that. And now we have our 4 time blocks. So now when my employees go in and fill out their availability, they go in and check off whether they can work during these time blocks that we just created. Next, we add the facility. To do this, we exit the time block page and go back to the schedule type listing page. And then we click on the building icon under the action column. I'm only going to add 1 facility because my fitness group only works at Riverside North. If I had more than 1 facility my fitness staff worked in, I would add these here. And I have to add a default location for each. The system needs this default location so it knows where your staff are physically working. I'm going to add exercise room 1 because this is our main fitness room. When I'm creating shifts on my schedule, I can change the location if the shift does not occur in exercise room 1. Next up is the person icon, which allows me to add the staff I want to be able to create schedules on this schedule type. And as you can see, there's a drop-down box of all the staff who have been given the ability to schedule. Now I'll add a viewer, and you do that through the eye icon. And again, there's a drop-down box, and this lists all the staff, and you choose which staff members can view the schedules. And last, the calendar icon. I can go directly to all the schedules that I've created for my schedule type from here. Because we just created the fitness schedule type, there are no schedules to access. So to recap, we've created a schedule type for all the fitness staff that work at the Riverside North site. We've defined when we need them to work via time blocks, assigned the schedulers and viewers, and now we just need staff to set their availability so we know which time blocks people can work. Let's look at my availability for this time block. If you remember, I added manager as a role so that I could go in and show you the availability form that all staff who work on this schedule type will receive. To do this, I go to my dashboard, and then I click on my work, and then my availability. This is where I fill out whether I'm available to work during the time blocks I just created. This is the same form that all the staff on this schedule type will receive. The default for availability is set to yes. I can work, which is denoted with a check mark. So if you don't want your employees to provide you with their availability, then you could just leave it as the default, that they can work all time blocks. Once staff have finished adding their availability, or you're happy with the default, we can begin creating schedules for the fitness employees.